Now that the Apple Vision Pro reviews are out, one question remains. Is the Meta Quest 3 good enough? Now, I've never used the Apple Vision Pro, but after seeing what it's capable of, I wanted to do a video comparing my take on using the Quest 3. I got it for Christmas, I've been using it for a while, and it's been pretty fun. So I wanted to kind of recreate some of the things I saw in these different reviews from MKBHD, iJustine, as well as The Verge, and see if we can recreate that experience. Now, I will say the experience on the Vision Pro might be better because they do have some really nice screens, and they have some really nice cameras, but I think you could recreate most of everything else on the Quest 3. So first off, let's talk about my experience with VR. First up, we had the Virtual Boy growing up. So if you've never used one of these, it was being able to play different games in a 3D environment. You would have all these red lines and your eyes would be put together so that you could have this cool 3D effect. We had pretty much only Mario Tennis, and it was pretty fun that we could play with. Now, the next type of VR that I used was the Google Cardboard. Now, that quickly advanced into the Samsung Gear VR. So you essentially put your phone here into the front, you're looking at your phone screen, and you're in a VR environment. Now with this VR, you were in a stagnant spot looking around. So if you moved or tried to walk, you would get motion sickness very quickly. And so these are no longer a thing, and they quickly advanced after that. So here we have a Lenovo device with Google's Daydream software. Now the difference here is it added sensors to be able to kind of know what your room was doing. So if you moved in the VR, inside moved as well. So there wasn't as much motion sickness, but you couldn't move around in your environment. Then after that, the other Oculus devices came out. There's all kinds of other VRs, but now we have the Meta Quest 3. So I played with the Meta Quest 2 a little bit, but having this really took all of those things that they've learned through VR and put it in one device. Now, this is the 128 gigabyte model, and it cost $499, and it comes with 2 controllers. So the strap on here right now is the Pro strap that you can get, so that does cost a little bit more, but it makes it easier so that you can quickly lock it into place here on the back. But there's a battery built in here. Battery lasts 2.5 hours depending on what you're playing. You have all kinds of cameras on the front here and sensors to understand the room and environment you're in. Here you have volume button. You can adjust kind of the eyes right here on the bottom. And then here you have a power button as well, and then charging over on the side. And it does have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack over here on the right side. Now, one of the cool things that this has, which the Apple Vision Pro doesn't have, is the controllers. Now, I feel like you can't have a really great gaming experience, especially VR gaming experience, without these controllers. So this is one thing that is pretty cool to have. One of our favorite games is Beat Saber, where you're using these to cut the different blocks that appear, which you couldn't do very well without a controller-like experience. Maybe they'll figure it out and it will work great in the Apple Vision Pro, but I like having the tactile controllers. So now let's go ahead and put this on. Now, one of the things this can do is it can do hand tracking. So there are certain games and the environment you can use all with your hands. And then you also have the option to be in VR, or you can experience your life in this mixed reality environment. So let's go ahead, put it on, show you what I'm talking about. Now this does have multi-users, so if you have multiple users, once I put it on, it's asking which user I want to use, and we are going to use my user. So here I can just move my hand around. I'm already seeing my hands, and I can then pinch to select. So let me go ahead, turn on the screen recording. Here we are recording our environment. Now, right now, looking out, I'm seeing you, the camera, and it is recreating that in VR. So it's digitizing everything. So everything looks a little bit more grainy than it would in normal life, but it's trying to still give you that 3D feel using the different cameras that it has on here and sensors. When things come up close to the screen, you can see they kind of warp. Maybe you can't see that far in. Then let's say if I pull out my phone and we try and read my phone screen there, you can see the big text, but there you can't really see the date and time. The Apple Vision Pro, it lets you mirror your phone into the VR environment, so you don't really need to pull out your phone to use that. And then one of the things with the Apple Vision Pro is you need to have an Apple device with Face ID to be able to even order it. So you need to have an iPhone with that or an iPad Pro with that. So I had to use my dad's iPad Pro to try and order. Full disclosure, I almost ordered it, but once it got in my cart and it was $4,000, I decided that was not what I needed right now. I have kids to feed. So I did not order it because of the cost of it. So here, can you have a similar experience? So I imagine that everything here would be a little bit more crisp and clear, but it's doing a great job at recreating life. I can walk around here and it's like I'm in real life. So this is what it's like when you are in the Quest 3. You can see it's much more grainy. It's not like a window-like experience. It does look pretty cool as it's trying to create that 3D experience of real life. Now let's go ahead. I'm gonna pull open a menu. So here I have my two hands open and it's doing, right now it's not finding it, but over here I have a menu and here I have my other menu. So I can pinch my fingers and I can mute, I can recenter, go through the assistant. So we're just gonna open up the menu there. So here you can see right now, it automatically put this menu in front of my face and I have this home row down here and I can still see in my environment. If I want to be fully immersed in VR, right here you have this option where I can enter the immersive mode. So here it is showing this environment that's 3D and I can walk around. Now, if you saw, when I look this way, there are these grids. So this grid is what is kind of telling me, hey, you're going to leave your environment or you're going to run into something. And right here, yes, there is a couch. So if I go out, there you can see the couch and it takes you out of the immersive environment so that you can see what's going on. So there's no way to do like a half and half, but sometimes different environments will show you what is real and other times you'll be immersed into a 3D world. And you can see that I've created a person that has a certain spacesuit on and my hands. So one of the big things with Apple Vision Pro is the persona. Let's go ahead, click on my profile here, and this is not the same. So it didn't create a 3D version of myself. I believe something like that will be coming, but right now you can go in and you can customize your avatar. So in here you can recreate yourself in this 3D world, which is really cool. Now, here you can see in the background in this immersive environment, there you can see different ships floating in space, which is really cool. So I feel very immersed in this 3D world and I could go through here and adjust what I look like, but I'm pretty happy with that. Now for the different things, I can simply pinch and move them. So here I could move this over here. Let's say I want to move it there. Now I'm going to do my best not to make it so bouncy as you're watching. So hopefully my head movements are smooth as I'm trying to recreate this experience. So now I can just pinch, I can move, I can bring it closer, I can bring it out, and so on. Now I can even do the same for the different windows. So let's go ahead, close this, and you can see I can easily point to where I want to go. Now let's go ahead and open our apps menu. So here we have a library. Let's open a different app. So down here we have a few different apps. I'm going to grab the store and I can open the store over here. So I have two apps running at the same time. Let's say we want to open a browser as well. So I'm going to grab that and drag it over here. So I can have a few different things. One thing I noticed about the Apple Vision Pro is you can pretty much place your different apps wherever you want and have multiple all over the screen, where this is kind of set to just these different sections, and you can only have a few different types of app open at once. So I could have my browser open, but you can't really have a game open at the same time because the game takes you into a more immersive experience. So here we're in like this 3D thing. Another thing I can do is go into the distance mode. So here I'm just looking at all of my apps in a row here, not in a 3D environment. If I go here, and instead of pinching, I can also just touch the menu too, which is cool. So it pops up like that. So instead of going into a full 360-degree environment, I can just have everything set up right here. But if we want to change that, we can go right here, and now it's fully immersed where I'm looking over here, and as I look around, I can see all of the different games that I have open. Everything's much bigger, and it's here within the environment. If I want to move these, let's see, I don't think I can move them. Okay, there, I can resize that. Okay, so I can make that bigger. Wow, that's really big. And then over here, I can move it up and down to whatever feels kind of natural. So that is your home screen environment. So customizable, you can do different things here. You know, I can browse through games, and there are hundreds of games. There's so many games that I've never even been able to go to the end of the game list, you know what I mean? So there's always new things that you would be able to find and play. Now, if you don't want to use the hand tracking here, you can also use the controller, but there you can see it's kind of recreating a hand over my hand, which I'd say it does a pretty good job of knowing where my fingers are. So now let's look at our games list, so our library. So here you can see there are different games. You have, this is like a social media app, the Horizon feed. You have your browser, your store, you have Prime Video VR. Here's some different games, Gravity Sketch. This is a game by Meta called First Hand, where it interacts with your environment and then it goes into its own environment. There we have Beat Saber. Here you can see the quality. Sometimes things just don't load. Will the Apple Vision Pro do that? I don't know. And go in here, we have other games. We have YouTube VR. We have this Acron game that you can play with somebody in the VR and other people on tablets or phones. That's really fun and interactive with the kids. And then we have this first encounter game. So let's go ahead and go into here because this really shows how VR could interact with your environment so that you can play different games. So here it's saying that I need to pick up the controllers and use them. So here for the controllers, I can easily put on the straps. You know, think of a Wii remote. You don't want these to go flying. All right, so I have the controllers on. And then they will register. You can see that I now have control of them, and you also will see the digitized controllers in here with the buttons, and it knows where I'm touching, and then I can interact with them. Now, when you first get in here, it asks you to create an environment, and it does an amazing job at telling well where the walls already are, and you just kind of adjust it if you want to have it go around where your couches are and different things like that. All right, so there, the ceiling opened up. It's going to have this alien ship come down, and then we're going to try and catch different aliens and put them in here. All right, there's the alien ship right in the room. Pretty fun that it's showing my room and the alien ship here. And here is a little flashlight that I need to pick up. All right, so here's my trigger. We can do a flashlight and see through. So right there, it's seeing through the wall in my home. I'm gonna walk around here. Oh, you can see the little guys coming in. Where else are they? There's one. Uh-oh, he broke through. Oh, so now I got a capture laser is what we'll call it. I can break the wall. There he is. So I captured him. He's now captured in there. And then here I'm gonna find the rest. They're coming through from outside. If we look out there, we'll be able to find them. And so they're here in the environment, which is cool. And I have a really tall ceiling here, so it just kind of creates its own ceiling. All right, let me see how many I can get. So here we're near the end. Collected 423 of these guys. You can see I've blown out the walls pretty much everywhere. I guess I can hold down the triggers. And you can see sometimes they'll go behind the couch because it recognizes my couch as an object in the game. And there we go, done. My controllers disappear and they take off. See ya, whoa. And here it pulls up right in front of me, pulls up my score. I caught 112 out of 167. That is not very good. So there you go. That is the example of a mixed reality game. Now let's go and try out a full immersive app. So here we have Beat Saber. So this is where you can, kind of like a Guitar Hero, you hit the different blocks that pop up based on the song that is playing. So here you can see I'm in an immersive environment. There we have Beat Saber up there. I can look around and see this pretty cool environment that has been created. So let's go in. Here we have all these different songs that we can play. Here, some of them you need to buy, but it does come with a bunch of free songs that you can use once you by the app. So let's go ahead and try this one. Now there are speakers that are coming down into my ears, so I can really turn this up and feel fully immersed. But again, I could use the headphones if I need to. So let's just go ahead and play this on hard. So depending on what level you choose, you're gonna have more blocks that you need to hit. So hard's pretty hard, but I think we can get this. So here you can see I have my controllers and they interact. As soon as I interact, it follows through. So if you don't have controllers to play a game like this, I don't really know how great of an experience that is going to be, where this feels like I'm holding these lightsabers and you can have a really fun experience. Now when playing this, after like 30 minutes, my watch is telling me that I have had a pretty good workout. So it's one fun game to play, and the more you play it, the better you're gonna get and the more you're gonna work out. Now, if you don't like this, there are other fitness games that you can play. Some of the other really cool immersive games is you can actually play miniature golf, and you can play that with others that have a Quest as well. So you can walk around and play mini golf in a 3D environment, and then you can be talking to your friends at the same time from afar, which is really cool. And I'm out of breath. Uh-oh, missing some. If you miss too many, you will fail the level. So if I push the home button, it's gonna pop up the app here, but there you can see I can look around. If I want to turn on pass-through mode, I have that option where there it opens up where I can see into my world, I can help the kids, and then get back to my game, which has been pretty cool. Another fun game that you can play is 11 VR. Have you ever wanted to have a ping pong table, but you just don't have room? Well, with 11 VR, you can put the ping pong table right in your front room. So here we can align it to wherever we want, and then we can play a game of ping pong. There's multiplayer, there's online play. Here I'm just playing with a cat robot, and you can advance the skill level and so on. But this is so fun that you can play this anywhere. You can do pass through, or you can even turn on the different environments that they have built within the app. So I have heard some say that this is the best game they've used to get a good workout on the Quest 3. Now, one of the benefits of using the Apple Vision Pro over the Quest 3 is how it directly integrates with your phone. So while I've been playing this, I've received a few messages, and it's kind of hard to see what my watch is saying and respond back to different text. There's no way to have everything directly incorporated into the Quest 3, where with the Apple Vision Pro, you have an iPhone, you get those messages, it's gonna pop up inside the VR, you can pull up iMessage and respond. So that's definitely gonna be one of the benefits of having something that's in an ecosystem that you're already using, where here this is just being added, there's not too much immersion. Now I could text with this if I go into the browser here and then I pull up the Google Messages app, messages.google.com. And so here I can pull up my messages, I could play my game, but I don't believe it's gonna notify me when I am in a game. So there I received a text and nothing happened, which is a bit of a bummer. So there you go, that's the difference between like an immersive environment and a mixed reality game. And then another thing that I wouldn't be able to do is just quickly pull up my pictures or have VR pictures. But because I do have YouTube, I can go into different VR environments that I've created and uploaded. Say I have my Insta360 here, I can upload those videos and I can watch those on the YouTube VR, which is cool. Now let's go to another experience that you would do on the VR, which is using your computer right in the VR, where you can actually mirror your computer screen inside here. So let me show you how to do that. All right, so here we have a program called Remote Display. Now there is also a companion that you will need to install on your computer to get it to work. And let's go ahead and move this window. So let's move that right here in front of my computer. So over here I have the desktop that is available, and now I am looking at my computer. Now I will say that looking at the computer is way more crisp than actually looking at my real life environment. So there you can see there's the computer. Now I don't really have much controls here in the app. So here I have the option to close. I can switch monitors. So there I can change to my other monitor that's over here, and I can switch back to the regular monitor. And then I have the option to change the resolution. And then over here in the corner, I have the option to adjust how big. So I can do a portrait mode there, or I can go really widescreen, or I can just make it as big as possible. And now I have a huge computer. Now the biggest difference between this and the Apple Vision Pro is it has spatial computing. So they allow you to have all kinds of different apps open in different areas. They only allow you to view one screen as well from your computer at a time, but they allow you to have multiple apps open. So let's go ahead and try that. So let's open the web browser, and you can see once I did that, it kind of closed the app. But if we go back into the remote display and then we drag the browser over here, I do have the option to have both of those apps open at the same time. So let's say I want to be watching YouTube over here as one of the examples that I've seen. So you can be watching YouTube over on this screen. And you also have the option to change the distance. So if you didn't like how that looks, you could have your screen right next to YouTube on here. So I have my full YouTube, and then here I have my computer screen. But there is no way to like resize that right here. So I think this is going to be your much more full immersion here. So then I can go over here, I can select a video to watch. That's playing in my headphones. And then I can come over here and I could be editing a video. And I actually edited almost a full video on here, about half of one of my videos about the new Aper Scuba series. And it's pretty quick. Let's go ahead and mute this over here. But you can see that here, my Jerry Rig Everything video is playing on YouTube, and here I'm editing. So I think this is some pretty good spatial computing, and I can go over here and watch and play just like I normally would. And then the sound is going to come out of my speaker right here. So it's not coming out of these. That's what YouTube is, but my computer is still coming out of my computer, and I can still see my keyboard and my mouse here, which is going to be the best type of computing you can have. If you have the pop-up keyboard, you can do text input just a little bit at a time, or you can do voice input, but this is where it's going to be fully immersive, where you have the keyboard tactile input as well as the mouse. So this is actually pretty cool. Now, I'd say the biggest flaw about this is you can't do this all day. You know, you do need to get out of this every once in a while. When I was editing, my battery died, so that was the one thing that made me so I wouldn't continue to do this. But the other thing is it actually was very helpful for me to edit. Sometimes editing is a very grueling experience, and it's hard for me to stay focused. I'm distracted by the apps on my phone and everything else. So being in this environment where I'm immersed in the edit was actually really helpful to keep me editing and help me finish it quicker so that I could then be done and move on. So I thought that was a great experience to be able to use this and edit and use my computer at the same time. I haven't tried out gaming or anything like that, but this is a pretty cool experience. And if I want to open different apps or whatever here on my computer, I have all those options. I can go and create thumbnails, use Photoshop, everything else all right here, use a web browser, all in the Quest 3. So let's go ahead and try another app. I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down. There we go, so we can shrink that down. And now, oh, something went wrong. So when you shrink it, it's going to change the resolution. Here you can see it's kind of bouncing all over the place. Looks like I crashed the app. Now you do need to have a pretty good internet connection there. You need to be pretty close to your computer and router for all of that to work. And here you can see I am currently using 3 programs at once. Here I have my remote display. Here I have, what's up, buddy?
Mario Kart.
Where is Mario?
Mario. Okay.
And so if I get up to move around, grab something, again, this experience isn't incredibly high quality. You can see how clean my office is, but it's good enough to be able to play games in this environment and move around. You know, I could see one day that this would get much higher, and that's probably the biggest benefit of the Apple Vision Pro right now, is having those higher resolution cameras and screens. But so far, this is pretty great. It knows that I have a boundary in my basement over there. What? So here it's creating a new boundary in the room. It sees that I'm sitting. So this is how you can create the boundary. Now let's get back to an option of trying out spatial computing. So I just found out about this app, which is called Fluid. It's currently under development, but it's a way in which you can have different browsers all around you and a bunch of different browsers to have this. So here I have a web browser showing, YouTube. I have a web browser showing the time, other documents on the side, and so on. So you can actually do quite a bit with this one app where you can have all of these web browsers open at once, displaying different things. So here I have the option to move the window around. I can then resize it and make it bigger if I want to. And then I even have the option to make a full screen mode where it hides the bar at the top. So it's just kind of a floating web app there. Here at the top, I found a clock. I might need to find one where it doesn't have ads. And then over here on the side, I'm in Google Docs, so I could pull out and connect a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse and control everything and work on a document and so on. Here I'm trying Google Earth. It didn't load up, but you can place something over here on the wall, and I could even put them up here. So really, I can do this wherever I want. Now in the settings, you do have the option to adjust the shortcuts here at the front, and then you also have the option to toggle off the pass-through. So if you don't want to see your home, so here we could go into this floating tree house and we can change the environment and so on. So if you want a more little cozy scene, you do have this option as well. So I think this is a pretty cool app, just kind of getting started and developed, but this has some potential and it's a really great way to see what you can do with spatial computing. Looks like I need to go and research some new web apps that I could use to really make full use of this experience. Now, one thing I'm doing right now is pointing the controller and changing the experience, but on the Apple Vision Pro, you have to look at everything and then tap your fingers together for them to work. So a big win here. And then as I was editing this video, I saw that they actually updated the web browser where you can have 3 different tabs open at once, and you can go down here and it will show you the tabs that you have open and you can quickly jump to them. So that's another way in which they're already making adjustments to the Quest 3 because the Apple Vision Pro is out. So we're going to see a lot more of this soon. And I just heard that you'll be able to view spatial videos recorded on your iPhone in the Quest 3 as well. Now earlier I mentioned that I'm using the 128 gig model. So let's go ahead and see how much space I'm actually using. So I only have 43 gigabytes left, and you can see that about 17 gigabytes is from the system information itself. Here I have a few games. Some of them are 30 gigabytes down to just about 1 gigabyte. So if you have a ton of games, you will run out of space, but I haven't had any problem with that. And I even have some other movies and files installed as well. Now, the only real main issue I have with the Quest 3 is the glare that you receive with the lenses. Now, this isn't unique to the Quest 3. This is just how VR headset lenses work. Because it is trying to make it look like you are there, you have a lot of different reflections going on. So I notice this mostly when I'm playing a game that has a really dark scene and then there's just a few lights on the screen, and then you can see that glare reflecting off the screen. It kind of looks like there's smudges or something on your lenses. My lenses are clean, but you will still see that. So here, when it's an all black screen, I'm seeing the logo. I'm seeing a lot of reflections and blur or blooming from the lenses. Even though it looks great without the lenses there, the lenses are causing this extra blooming. But once I go into the game, I'm not noticing it as much because it's not so bright right on the screen with just the black and the colors. So here, like, I see a tiny bit of a smudge right there. Not much I can do to clean that up. Now I do have an irregular astigmatism, so maybe that's causing some problems, but overall I think it looks great. So while playing a game, it's really black, and then here we just have the game up there, and I see a little bit of this glare or reflection on the lenses. I can notice it mostly when I'm looking, to the side. Not a huge deal, but just something that you definitely need to be aware of when you are using the Quest 3. Now this is most likely not unique to the Quest 3, and you would probably notice this on the Apple Vision Pro as well. We'll have to see once the full reviews come out soon. Now, another thing that you can do on the Quest 3 is adjust for glasses or comfort for your eye level. So right here on the front piece, there is a little button you can push to adjust how close this is to the lens and give it a more gap. So right now I'm actually on 4. I don't know if you can see that white dot right there, but there are 4 different sections. So if I want to use it with glasses, you could use that and maybe have a pretty good experience. I also find that with my child, I put it on this one, so there's a little bit less room here, so they could put it on with the Pro head strap here. But if I want to adjust that, I'm just going to push down and then it goes in, and now we are locked in on the front one. So there you can see I just push that and it slides in, and so that can help with your comfort level as well. And then you can adjust this down here to get the right comfort for your eyes. So those are the adjustments you can make. Here you can see the speakers on the side there, so that's on the left and right side. Sounds really great bass. I've never really thought, oh, I should go put on headphones or anything. The sound coming out of this is really nice. But there you go. I think this is a pretty great device for the cost. There's so much it can do. You have everything built in here. You have the battery all in one, and then you have the controllers, which is really nice to have that full VR gaming experience. Now, if you're already a part of the Apple ecosystem and you have all the Apple devices and you don't have any problems with money right now, sure, go ahead and get the Apple Vision Pro. You might have a really good experience, and of course they're going to improve that. But for a lot less, you can get your whole family Quest 3, and then this is going to continue to improve. I know that now that the Apple Vision Pro is out, I'm sure we'll see a lot more updates to this with the spatial computing and just other features that are available there. I'm sure we'll see come here pretty soon over time, as is with competition in all forms of technology. So if you have any further questions about the Meta Quest 3, please let me know down in the comments below. If you want to pick one up for yourself, you can check out the link in the description below. Hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.